And we're moving into a final conversation for today. We're joined by Executive Director of Youth Enhancement Services, also known as Y.E.S. We have Karen Keane with us. Good morning.
Good morning, and thank you for having me.
So, Miss Karen, 30 years of Youth Enhancement Services. Can you, for people who perhaps are not aware of your history, tell us where it all got started?
Okay, that's a history.
That's a long history.
Yes, but let me just say this quickly because I know our time is short. We started way back in 1989, and I have to big up Lauren Damani, Lauren Burgess Egan, who was our very first employee.
Yes.
And I joined Lauren, I think Lauren was there from the September of 1989, and I came on board January of 1990.
Whoa.
So we have been there for quite a long time. Y.E.S has 3 departments. We work primarily, when we first started, it was just a training center where we were offering life skills, remedial math and English, things that the girls could have learned so that they can make something of themselves later on in life.
Yeah.
And then quickly we added on our Center for Teen Moms, because we realized that our girls have been abused for quite some time. They are going through a lot of things in their life, and we noticed that teenage pregnancy was on the rise from way back then. And then in 2000, we became very ambitious, and we added on our 3rd program, which was the outreach and advocacy. Y.E.S started the very first campaign, I would say, against sexual abuse and exploitation of young women and girls, and we have been fighting that fight ever since. We have been doing it as loud as possible, as silent as possible, but both ways, or whatever strategy we use, it has always been very, very effective, because yes, it's all about young women and girls.
Yeah. And the vulnerabilities that they have, and you mentioned quite a lot just now.
Yeah.
But I wanted to tap into one of the things that you said, because I remember very clearly the Hit Me on the Hips campaign, which Y.E.S championed very early on, before we knew the problem existed, and that was the prostitution and exploitation of teen girls when there was kind of the growing tourism industry.
We got a lot of backlash for that as well.
I remember, and because you came out as the first ones to champion it, or just to open our eyes to it. And I wanted to ask you, when you take up causes like that, where are you now? I mean, are we still seeing the problem? Are you still educating the girls in schools?
Oh yes. That's why I'm saying we're doing it publicly, quietly. And those are the quiet parts. So we're going to the schools, going to communities, and we talk about it. But I must say that back in 2004, we championed our very first campaign, No Means No, Use Your Voice.
Yes.
And then in 2008, I think those funds came from the IDB, where we did the Hit Me on the Hips. And then, of course, without any money, we said, well, we couldn't stop. Let's just go on to the 3rd phase of the campaign, where we said sexual violence was no joke. And that was the theme, basically. And so we have been going into schools, talking, and especially rural communities, because whatever I always tell people as a social worker, whatever you do in the city, there's more need for it in rural communities, in the districts and in villages. So without much ado and money, we still go into those areas and do the work, because it's important to spread the word. And so we have been championing that cause, talking about human trafficking as well, commercial sexual exploitation of children. And the work continues, because it's never ending.
When you took over the organization, or when you started to head up the organization after, I think it was Miss Florence,
my mentor,
who was the first ED at the time.
Right.
Had done great work, great spirit, and then you take it over and you have to continue this work. My question just is, Karen, it's not easy to keep NGOs going for a long time. It's not easy to keep them relevant for a long time. And even more so, it's not easy to keep them focused for a long time. But the Y.E.S has done that, as you said, very quietly. The Teen Mom Center in front of the Cleopatra White, or in the same compound as Cleopatra White, has been there for so long. I've done multiple stories there. And it's always amazing that I don't know how you manage to keep it afloat without any dedicated funds. Like, you're not chasing funds.
We are.
I mean, like, you're not changing your focus.
No, we don't change our focus. That's one of the things that I think Y.E.S is known for. We are known for the fact that we are dedicated people. I personally, when I got on board as a director, I personally have sought out social workers to hire. Because you have the background already, so there's very limited training. Still, you need to train your staff, but you don't need to put in a lot of work, right? And so the people at Y.E.S, I have been fortunate in my time to have people who are very dedicated to the cause and love what they do, and so they continue with the passion and you know, just the love for giving back to the young girls.
Yeah.
You said that the work is never ending.
Right.
And I could imagine comparing it to some other organizations.
Right.
You know, you feel like you're trying to build up the sea.
Right.
How do you, as an organization, motivate yourself and assess what your impact is to see your progress?
Right. And that is being done by what we call assessments. You know, in-house, we have had several assessments. One recently, I think as 2014, was sponsored by the UNFPA to see whether Y.E.S could have been sought out as a best practice. And that was done by our consultant, not our consultant, but the consultant, Deborah Lewis, did that. And we have always, over the years, I can remember assessment being done by, I don't think he's in the country, but by Mr. Palacio, who is, I think it was Joseph? No, probably the son. But he came and he did one, and I know Anne-Marie did one for us way back. So we have always been evaluating, looking at where we are we still relevant, right? Because even today, as we speak, Y.E.S is going through a transition because of the fact that although we have training programs going on at the training center, there has been several training centers open up in the city by the government of Belize. And so if we are competing for those same clientele, there is some hesitant, maybe for a girl who's already strapped for cash because of socioeconomic reasons, to come from Belize City to Lord's Bank when you can walk from your home in the city to where those centers are, you see? So we have been, our goal has been to go residential for commercial sexual and trafficking victims, teenage girls. So while we are doing that,
Go residential, what does that mean?
Residential means that they will be able to live and in a safe environment where, from the abuse, from whatever they're going through. So that is something that we really want to do.
Wow.
And it has been in the works for quite a time, but that takes a lot of funding. Because it has to be then that you'll have a morning staff and an evening staff, plus 3 meals a day instead of the 1 or 2 that we were offering in the past. So
that's the new goal.
That is our new
forward.
goal. Hopefully in the next couple of years, or maybe less, if God's willing, we'll be able to do that.
Okay.
So.
And you know, you speak of that. I'm just trying to think. You know, it's like when I think of Haven House, and the great work that they have been doing for such a long time there. The challenge is that I think people think of the problem, and that you want to cut, you want to stop it, you want women to leave abusive relationships, you want children to be rescued from exploitative situations, but what we don't think about is the continuum of care, and that they need to go somewhere, and they need to be cared for properly and allowed to heal. What's currently being done with children who have been identified as victims of sexual exploitation, commercial sexual exploitation?
Well, some of them I know from, you know, this is a problem also for the Ministry of Human Development. And so I know for sure that whenever they find victims with this type of issue, they have safe houses as well that they take them to. And I know that they were talking about independent living as to how old a person is. Maybe they can be on their own with a house mother, helping them out, maybe, send them back to school. Whatever the situation is, Human Services look at that individual and see how they can help. And that is something that Y.E.S would like to do as well, because, like you said, maybe after they reach 18, they might still not have a place to go. So there might have to be a transition house where they can go to and get help, or hopefully the ministry would be able to find jobs for them so that they can then rent a little place and, you know, become independent.
And so with the shift that you're going through in working towards a residential home, what happens to your teen mom center?
No, that will not go. The Teen Mom Center stands alone, and the outreach and advocacy work stands alone. So it's just maybe the training that we do now at the training center, we are already equipped to offer those services to our clients that will come in as residential people, right? So they will have the sewing, they may have the computer, they have the math and English, because we have that expertise in-house already.
About what is the extent of your clientele, the people that you service?
You mean the
Currently?
amounts?
Yes, through the programs.
Since 1989 to now.
Well, currently this year.
This year we have about 20 teen moms at the training center, and they fluctuate. Why I say that? Because sometimes if they find jobs, you will find out they will tell us, look, I can't come anymore, I have a job, and we understand that.
That's good news.
Yes, yes, they do get jobs, and then we have our training center. We have about 10 right now doing computer classes, so that is where we are. We used to have a larger amounts, but as I said, the centers in the town is taking those
which is
clients
as long
away.
as they're engaged, and
Yes.
I appreciate that instead of duplicating efforts, you're trying to fill another void. One of the things I think that people aren't aware of, as I said, Y.E.S has been consistent in the work that it does, and you always need help. You always need volunteers and assistance. So if somebody's listening and they want to think about how they can help you in serving your mission of assisting vulnerable girls in our society, how can they help?
Well, I would say they could call us at 225-2315. That's the Lloyd's Bank number. And then we have the Belize City number, which is 203-970. Okay. And those are the two contact numbers that we have. We have our email, yes.belize@gmail.com. And again, we always try to answer our email as quickly as possible. So they would definitely get back a response. But in talking about our 30th anniversary, if you would allow me, one of the things that we want to do on March 31st is to have all our past clients, workers, people, anybody who have ever been a friend or supporter of Y.E.S to come out on March 31st. It's a Sunday. It's going to be at our training center in Lloyd's Bank. We have lots of space out there, and the girls know this, and they can come out and bring their families. We are charging a small fee. It's not even a charge, it's just to offset the cost, because we're saying adults is $5. You'll get your little chips and dip as you come in, your main course meal, and a dessert and drinks, right? And so children under 10 and under is $3. Yes, because that's what I'm saying. We are not about money making. We're about trying to celebrate this 30 years that we are having, and bring back our girls and see their faces and, just talk and have a good time. So we could have some fun games as well for them. I remember they're probably much older now, but our girls used to do sack race, right? Jump in the sack and lime and spoon and, water toss, balloon. So it's a fun-filled day for them. Of course, we'll have a little, maybe 15-minute prayer and reflection, and they can say what Y.E.S have done for them. In fact, now as I'm talking, most people have Facebook. They can go and say what Y.E.S did for you, or what was it like being at Y.E.S, and those things give me personally joy, because then you look back at your work and you say, it hasn't gone in vain.
Builds morale.
Right. And another thing that we're doing, next month is Women's Month.
Yes.
We are honoring a fabulous lady. Her name is Miss Shirley Ferguson. Shirley has been with us for almost, I think, over 5 years. She plays her guitar. Remember when we were on the 7th Street King's Park? Miss Shirley would come and she would...
and sing her own classics.
And church songs, and give the girls a good preaching, and they all would go away feeling good for the day. Even myself, I would look forward to that. So, and each year Y.E.S have been trying to big up a woman that has done well for them. So we're looking at membership as well. As I said earlier, March 31st, the Family Fun Day, Father's Day. We did one last year, and we're trying to make it our signature event where we're looking at fathers. Because although we are a women's organization, we feel like men are very important, and they play such a vital role in the home.
And the choir said amen.
Amen. This year we're becoming very ambitious, looking at 200 young girls between the ages of 9 to about 13, doing a rites of passage workshop in July. Where, yes, but we're doing that. It's a big amount, but we're doing it in 100 in the first week and another 100 in the second week. Where we're looking
and what's a rites of passage?
Well, rites of passage has to do with your body.
Okay.
Going into womanhood, learning about your body, learning about how to protect yourself, talking about self-esteem, talking about being assertive. And so that week will be filled with topics of that nature.
Okay.
And then the last one that we are looking at is, which is the big event for anniversary, is on August 16, which is a catamaran cruise. Now that is a fundraiser for the organization as well, and hopefully you two guys will be buying tickets. So that is what we have. So it's like 5 different things, and you guys can become members as well. Everybody in this room can become a member of Y.E.S by donating a $50 for the year. That's your registration fee, and you get your receipt and everything. And out of that pool of membership is normally where we pull our board of directors from. So that is it in a nutshell.
Wonderful.
Okay. So there's quite a lot coming up from Y.E.S, and as you said, you do have a Facebook page that people can get all the information that they need. You know, I think it's a great accomplishment to be celebrating your 30th anniversary, and so we want to say congratulations to you and your team, and definitely best of luck with all those big projects that you have lined up.
Right. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. We're going to go ahead and take our final break, and when we come back, we'll have our wrap up, so stay tuned.